I never knew The Sims 3 came out on the Nintendo DS. I thought it was a PS3, 360, and Wii only experience outside of PC and Mac. So once I found out about the game, I had to get a hold of the game and play it for myself. After messing around for over an hour and 30 minutes, I could say without a doubt, the game is ambitious for the hardware and time, offering an experience that's unique to the DS. Though the Nintendo Wii version is also similar, but different enough. You got like 15% of the Sims 3 base game here from the PC.
What the hell is even that?
Once you start up the game, you can select a new game and choose from either playing a pre-existing household or creating a new sim. You can only have one sim at first and then get one more via a partner. There's no different ages like baby, infant, toddler, child, teen, young adult, adult, and elder, or even ghosts. You can only be an adult sim. The skin tones are simple and there's no creative style in the game, which hinders your creativity and makes the game very samey, as people will look the same with facial similarities and matching clothes. But at least the trait system is here alongside a lifetime wishes. So select up to 4 traits, a lifetime wish based on what traits you have, and finalize your sim. I honestly hate how the Sims look in this game. They're big-eyed anime-looking abominations with big ears. Honestly, they make the default Sims on the PC version look good, like they're from The Sims 4 or something. But after all of that, you can select a home to move into and begin playing the game. We'll cover build mode and buy mode first, as I was shocked they even allowed you the ability to even build anything, given the Sims 2 DS did not allow such a thing. The UI is a clunky mess to navigate, and you best have a stylus to play with, or use the mouse if you emulate like I did, because screw the used game market these days. Jesus Christ, the price of everything now. No way. So you need to use the touch screen for basically everything. So in build mode, you can place new walls, windows, doors, flooring, wallpaper, and delete walls. Flooring and wallpaper will eat up the whole room. You cannot have different stuff in each section, unlike in the PC game and stuff. It's just not that good, and the camera angles don't help either. Also, there's no pools, no place in garden stuff, there's no gardening at all. You can't have multiple stories, fireplaces, you name it. None of that stuff exists in this game, which I kind of get due to the limitations of the Nintendo DS. For buy mode, you have a very small selection of stuff to use. Heck, they only included some of the skill objects and entertainment stuff. You can't even buy a car. Your sim just uses one automatically when they have to travel at a certain distance, and it's a random one each time. Quite jarring. But buy mode has the essentials like plumbing, appliances, beds, you name it. Overall, it's okay, but there's not much for gameplay objects like hot tubs, pools, arcade machines, VR goggles, train sets, you name it, like in a PC game. You can't have a garden, you can't swim in the ocean, there's no pool floats, there's no pets or anything. It's a very, very basic experience with only a small selection of stuff like a game console, a computer. You can't even have a writing skill. You can't write books. You can't become an author like in the PC version, which is what I do. I become a horror novelist, kind of like R.L. Stein with his Goosebump books. You do have a chess table. You have the easel, and that's basically it. There's just not much to buy, not much variety, and again, because there's no creative style, there's only one option for every piece of furniture. So if you want a couch in a different color, you can't have that. You want a bed in a different color, you can't have it. You want a chair in a different color, you can't have it. You want a countertop in a different color. You can't have it. Yeah, that really does suck. Again, you must use the touch screen for almost everything, as the face buttons are for camera, zoom, and rotation. The start button allows you to select things like save, disable sim autonomy, and quit the game to the main menu. So touch the object you want to interact with, and from the pie menu, select the desired action. You can speed up the game surprisingly, unlike The Sims 2 DS, which was real-time, akin to Animal Crossing Wild World. The top part of the screen will display most info such as skills, motives, time, simoleons, reward points, mood, and more. To switch between these info panels, you must select your sim and touch the orange circle in the middle of the screen. If you want to call someone or see other info, you must pause the game, hit a loading screen, and navigate more menus. You can have up to 2 wants at once locked in, like increasing a skill, befriending a sim, flirt with someone, etc. To move the camera around, however, you must touch and drag the bottom screen around. That's a very clunky, unintuitive way to play a game. And even after over an hour, I didn't get used to it. Instead, I found myself more agitated than ever. As you play the game and tend to your needs, you'll interact with Sims, get a job, go to work, and eventually, hopefully, find yourself a partner. Just like the PC game, depending on your social interactions used, you can have different options for more social interactions. So make the interaction more alluring for more raunchy romance socials. Make the conversation more friendly for more friendly options, you name it. I actually like this concept, but it was kind of altered and scrapped in The Sims 4 basically. Well, after an hour, I found myself getting a special someone and had them get married. And of course, it's all abrupt and it's all with unique cutscenes. And these cutscenes kind of remind me of The Sims 2 for PC, where your first special interaction has a memorable moment. But given that The Sims 3 Sims for DS look so freaky, it's not memorable or special. These cutscenes are nightmare fuel. Now we live together and it's time to juggle between the Sims, tending to their needs, making them get to work and keeping them happy, all within the game's awful controls, which isn't easy, and I quitted the game around 1 hour and 30 minutes. It was disheartening at first with the vast limitations and lackluster nature. It became somewhat more interesting after a while, but then delved into a frustrating nightmare towards the end. I just couldn't put up with the performance, long loading times, UI navigation, you name it. Speaking of bad performances, of course, for trying to replicate the PC game, the DS version is hindered by fugly graphics, clunky controls, bad LOD, awful load times, and frame rate dips galore. Things got worse once I had a wife and had to juggle several Sims at once. The game is a clunky mess of bad performance, but I had to commend the developers for trying to one-to-one the game with the PC version. Even the PS3 and 360 versions wasn't this close, which is funny, given they have more powerful hardware. Honestly, after that 1 hour 30 minutes, I had quit out of frustration and a bad migraine. The low resolution graphics and clunky nature was getting to me. Unlike a heavily modded PC version, which ironically still looks and performs way better. At the end of the day, The Sims 3 for DS is really ambitious for what it's trying to pull off. It's The Sims 3 from PC on the go, on a handheld that's not really capable of much outside of Brain Age and Nintendogs. It's clunky, it runs poorly, it looks awful, there's not much content and features, but for the time, it was okay. I still recommend it and consider a painfully average game well worth checking out. Anyways, that's it for this video. See you all later. After reviewing The Sims 3 for DS last year, I decided I might as well go ahead and review every version of The Sims 3 altogether. Though I'll be skipping on the Pets version because it's its own thing, and I won't be covering the Xbox 360 version since the PS3 is just the same game. So I'm only going to review the DS, 3DS, Wii, PS3, and PS3 PC versions.
Lazy.
Skipping out on a single one being Xbox. So let's go ahead and see what the 3DS version of The Sims 3 has to offer us. I mean, the DS one was really bad, but ambitious given its limitations. They tried so hard to emulate the open world sandbox PC version on the go. So what about the 3DS? Surely, it'll be just like that, but better, right? I mean, it's the 3DS, a more powerful DS, but with tacky 3D that will blind you, just like the Virtual Boy. Surely, it fucking sucks.
Man, didn't see that coming.
Just like the DS version of The Sims 3, the 3DS version attempts to capture the PC game on the go, except with tons of downgrades and restrictions that makes the DS version look all the better than it already was. With a new control scheme, tacky gimmicks, and little to nothing to do. Oh, and there's no open world in this game? Yeah, go figure. For a next-gen handheld, it couldn't handle what the DS itself could pull off. Fucking tech, man.
Can't I just have a break? Can't I just have one break?
Alright, let's go ahead and get this train wreck over with, starting out with create a sim. We can make a single sim, yep, only a single sim. You may be wondering, does that mean we have to make separate households and then get them married to merge? Nope, you can't have more than a single sim.
Shit the fuck!
Yeah, so anyways, you can pick from a tiny selection of skin colors, one of 2 body types, no sliders here, and one of 2 genders. After that, this version of The Sims 3 takes a turn with its customization. You can sculpt the head of the Sims a bit more differently, even able to use your 3DS camera to try to generate a face based on your photo. While I have no desire to do this, I can say what little is possible here is just okay. There's not that many presets to choose from for ears, eyes, mouths, and noses. Sculpting by sliding the target around to morph parts is just alright, nothing special. As for hair, well, there's no content here, just like the DS, if not even somehow worse. I mean, good god, there's like a single black hair, and then a few variations of the same long hair. Plus, you gotta set your head and facial hair for each outfit. Yep, so make sure to keep track of which 2 facial hair options you use to put onto your sleepwear and workout outfits. Yikes, things are just getting worse and worse.
It can't get worse, right? It can and it will, and here it is.
Yeah, when it comes to clothing, you only have a small selection as well. This just keeps getting ridiculous, folks. There's no creative style either, so if you prefer a shirt in a certain color,
Go fuck yourself.
don't help either, there's barely any clothing altogether. Oh god, I'm starting to get a migraine.
But wait! There's more!
Yeah, when it comes to traits, you only have a tiny selection, even less than on DS. I don't see anything for the geeky or tech type, there's not even anything for artsy people. You only got handy, flirty, loner, good cook, etc. Nothing is really here to help define you. Even DS had more to offer. But just like DS, you can't just pick your aspiration. It's predetermined based on your trait selection. Man, I hate this game already.
Oh, no shit.
After we barely create something that's supposed to represent us, it's time to pick from one of 3 houses to live in. Yep, only 3, and don't let all those other lots fool you. You'll never get to move into them. I'll explain as we get into the gameplay portion. So for now, we pick our house and then get right into the gameplay. After create a sim and picking our house out of a whopping 3 choices, we begin playing, except not really, as you're forced into non-stop tutorials. You gotta also play them correctly, otherwise you cannot progress your way out of them, and nope, you cannot disable these. They're mandatory every time you start a new game. Oh, and remember, only one save file is allowed with a single sim too.
Bullshit!
I can get the tutorial being there given this game's control scheme, but don't force it onto us. Not everyone is a middle-aged mother who never really played a video game before. It should have been optional with a continue with the tutorial or not prompt, okay? Not that hard, developers.
Makes sense.
A major issue right away with this game outside of non-stop forced tutorials whenever you start a new game, because you can only have a single save and a single sim. Yeah, let that one sink in, folks. It's the most restrictive Sims 3 game out there. I expect something like that when I play The Sims 2 for PSP and DS, but then again, in those games, I can just start a new save with multiple slots available. But here, nah fam, you get one sim and save. You could create townies, but not able to really play as them. So why is this even a feature? I mean, come on, there's several empty lots in the game and 3 houses by default we can select from. But we're not allowed to play as any other Sims? Just what kind of logic is this? Anyways, back on topic, you don't get to see your needs. Yet, much like The Sims 2 for DS, except they're so minor that it's nothing and you can deal with them in less than 5 real-time minutes, as they decay very slowly. Here, they decrease faster than The Sims 1 on PC or console. Hell, they decay faster than your average experience in The Sims 2 Castaway.
Good God.
So, how do you know when you gotta take a shit? You can't. You just piss yourself at random as your sim never does what you want them to do. Oh hey, it's the coding they used to make The Sims and The Sims 4 Autonomy, right? Yeah, because in that game, they never do what you want, and here, it's the same exact thing. Unlike the PC and DS version of The Sims 3. Shocker. So yep, your needs decay fast, and you can never tell what your sim needs till it's too late. Plus, with all the objects getting dirty, clogging, and of course breaking non-stop, your sim's never cleaning up after themselves. Your house will look like Asmongold's gold after a few real-world minutes.
Man, fuck you guys, man. Yeah, y'all really think you're being cute, huh?
Oh lord. If you hate Nintendo control schemes, then avoid this game because it controls like a typical Nintendo first-party exclusive. You gotta use the touchscreen for every single little thing. You want to move the camera? Touchscreen. Want to move around and see where things are? Touchscreen. Want to select things? Touchscreen. It gets so bad trying to control everything, especially because this UI is so god-awful. I'm struggling to navigate it, especially if you enter buy or build mode. Oh god, is it a pain trying to place things. You gotta touch and hold, then press the buy button, then you gotta touch and drag to where you want to place it. Afterwards, exit buy/build mode or enter the other mode so if you're placing a chair, enter build mode, then go back to buy mode. So that way you can place another chair. Yeah, you can't just place the object and go back into the buy or build mode to place another. You gotta exit and re-enter every single time you place an object. Try to figure that logic out right there. Yeah, it's so bad. So bad that I barely placed anything. Build mode was the worst offender, just attempting to move this garbage camera around so I can place wallpaper down or place in walls or flooring. Nothing about this game is intuitive or fun. If you thought the DS game looked and played badly, especially with performance, you haven't seen, let alone played the 3DS game. This is 100% impossible to play. I only tolerated about 1 hour of gameplay before I gave up. I saw everything this piece of shit has to offer in that time. That's how bad it is. In fact, things get really bad if you go into town or speed up time. The graphics are fugly, all the stuttering and freezing plus low frame rate. Oh god, even the PC version with all the DLC enabled runs better than this game. How is that even possible?
Man, this sucks. It's just like, I don't even know what to say.
There's no open world unlike the DS version. Why? Why is the next gen experience worse than the previous? That's not how it's supposed to work. But then again, this is the 2010s when gaming started to go downhill in terms of quality, and tech has become so stagnant, yet games look worse than ever before with terrible performance and ports. Yeah, after the 7th generation of consoles got close to their deaths, gaming just kind of soured. Who knew? There's barely any creative sim assets. You can't really make anything remotely close to yourself or even anyone else. Buy mode has tons of counters because they use swatches as separate objects. Just like The Sims 4. But when it comes to computers, skill objects, and all that stuff, there's barely anything there. Hell, there's no easel to paint on. They got rid of the easel. Instead, they got 3 chess tables that are literally the same exact thing with different colors. By God, is there anything here? Is there a reason to buy stuff? Is there any gameplay besides pissing yourself and watching your sim collapse like a diabetic in a Dairy Queen? No! So outside of your house, you'll be spending all your time at basically. What else is there even to do? Well, if your Sim's needs are not completely depleted for at least 1 millisecond, so you can actually take a breath, well, you can go to one of 2 locations you can visit in this game. Yep, you cannot visit your neighbors unlike the DS version, so go ahead and check out either area of town, both featuring a small alleyway of rabbit holes and maybe 1 or 2 actual buildings you can enter, like a library or gym. And that's about it. Yep, there's nothing to do. I couldn't even spot a single place to go fishing. How the hell do you even do that? Even The Sims 1 on PC had fishing through an expansion pack. Christ's sakes. Yeah, so the game just sucks. I can't think of anything positive to say about it. I was hoping that stuff would unlock over time, but nope, it didn't. And your needs with terrible UI and controls just leads to non-stop frustration. This is one of the worst Sims games of all time, and so far the worst version of The Sims 3. Up next will be the Nintendo Wii, followed by PS3, and finally PC version. So here's hoping they will be better than this trash. If you gotta play The Sims 3 through a portable, make sure it's the DS version. Anyways, let's wrap this shit up.
It's about time.
At the end of the day, this is easily so far the worst version of The Sims 3 that I've played yet. How is the next gen experience worse than the previous gen? The fact I can have more fun, more content, more value from the DS version of The Sims 3 over the 3DS one says it all. Wow, just wow. What a garbage piece of fucking shit game this turned out to be. Glad it's over with though. I'm not covering the Pets version either. Was going to, but after experiencing this game and all what little it has to offer, I'm out. Fuck this shit. It ain't worth playing. It ain't worth downloading. It ain't worth remembering.
You got real dark.
Forced touchscreen controls, the horrible camera, the terrible UI, stuttering, freezing, lag, slow frame rate, lack of needs display, the lack of stuff to do, and the worst creative sim I've ever seen. Since the Game Boy Advance series of Sims titles. I have nothing positive to say about this game. Please, for the love of God, avoid it at all costs.
Oh, I will!
Anyways, that's it for this video. See you all later. We're back with The Sims 3 on Nintendo Wii as we journey through every version of The Sims 3 available, minus Xbox 360 since it's the same thing as the PS3. Last year I covered The Sims 3 on DS, and last month I covered the 3DS version as well. So now we'll see if Nintendo Wii will be any good and better than those two. So kick back, relax, and let's get into The Sims 3 for Nintendo Wii and see if it's a good game or not as we close in on the end of our 5-game journey. The Sims 3 on Nintendo Wii is attempting to emulate the PC version of The Sims 3 with an open world, beach, swimming, fishing, rabbit hole careers, raising a family, and more. So it's close to the DS version basically, but unlike the DS and 3DS version, you're directly controlling your Sims akin to The Sims 2 on consoles, which is neat, and I prefer this control scheme. The gameplay is more engaging when you directly control your Sims. But of course, because it's on a Nintendo Wii, there's a ton of drawbacks that hold this version of The Sims 3 back. So let's get into them, starting off with Create a Sim.
Oh, my favorite.
So, starting off, I'm not going to play The Sims as a family, as I'm not into the idea of settling down and becoming a parent. Too expensive, too many legal issues that come with it these days, and don't get me started on losing everything in the eventual divorce like most marriages end. Why would I want that?
I'd argue with that.
Anyways, so we'll be doing what I normally like to do, and that is making myself Charlie, Muda, and Zach. Well, I could have added others since you can now have large households apparently, I guess. I decided against it because I don't want to micromanage too many Sims at once. It would become too overwhelming. As for Create a Sim, it's actually pretty good, though lacking in certain areas like traits and clothing options. You only have a select few formal wear and swimwear options, for example as a male. And since I'm not creating any females...
Because he's stupid. Duh. He's stupid, so he's gonna think something stupid. It's pretty simple, right? I mean... Duh.
I have no idea what the options are like for them. Instead, this is a dude bro household of hard-working manly men doing whatever they can to keep a roof over their head and partying when it's possible.
Thanks.
The controls took some getting used to here, and be careful when clicking any buttons while at the main page of Create a Sim where you enter a name and stuff. Otherwise, it automatically clicks the randomize button, and you'll lose all your progress. There is no undo option akin to PC, so I lost all of my progress on one of these guys. I can't remember who, and if I even saved that portion of the recording, but it did happen.
Sure, buddy.
So pick your Sim's name. Don't bother changing the last name at first because it'll just reset to the default of whoever came first, so everyone shared my last name till I changed it and confirmed the Sim is done. A very annoying bug, but something to be aware of if people in your household don't share the same last name.
Okay.
You can pick your gender of male and female, your age of child, teen, adult, and elder. Then your weight and muscle sliders, plus for skin tone options. You have 4 with different shade options underneath them. There's a lot more traits in the Wii version compared to DS and 3DS, but not enough variety compared to what's on PC, so no computer geeks and stuff like that. You can't make Sims completely like the real deal people you're basing them on, sadly, but still closer than what you had on handhelds. Afterwards, you pick your lifetime wish from several options instead of being restricted based on your trait selection, so that's a huge plus in my book. But after you pick your basics, it's time to delve into the looks of your Sims, starting out with hairs, and there's a decent amount in comparison to DS and 3DS, but also not that much. However, I was able to give everyone their proper hairstyles. Charlie and I have a head of luscious hair. Meanwhile, Muda has a more medium-esque one at the time of making him. Then, for Zach, as always, he's a pain with games given his hairline has receded so much it's no longer a Nintendo 64 controller or even a GameCube controller. so I just gave him the middle-aged divorced dad living in a rundown apartment hair instead. You got eyebrows and facial hair options as well, but no custom hair colors, just the basic stuff. You can't sculpt the faces really, but there's a good amount of presets to select from. You even got a decent amount of tattoos if you like. I don't, but it's an option. Yet once you delve into the clothing section is where things get really fugly. You only got a small selection of stuff to wear, but unlike DS and 3DS, there's a decent variety of colors to choose from for basically every piece of clothing, even the shoes. So giving everyone that proper clothing based on what they wear on stream/video wasn't really an option, but hey, I did my best in the end. But the sheer amount of loading in between everything made in Create a Sim takes forever. To make myself, Charlie, Muda, and Zach, it literally took 30 minutes. Once you're done in Create a Sim, it's time to move into the new world of Vista Beach, where you have a whopping total of 5 choices to move into.
Guys, stop. You're giving me too many options. I'm only one man here.
You got 4 pre-made houses and 1 empty lot, each varying in cost and theme. They're not that well placed either, as they tend to be bundled near each other, so it's not like you can have a house on one side of town or the other. Oh no. Instead, they're all basically in the lower left hand corner of the world. Yeah, so anyways, just decide which area and house design you prefer, let alone can afford. Then, move in. I decided because I wanted to explore build mode for this review, I had to go with the giant empty lot option near the diner. Once I got into building mode, however, I learned that this game is vastly restricted akin to The Sims 2 Pets on PSP. You see, unlike the DS and 3DS version, you cannot freely build houses. That's why houses in this game look so much better than what you can get even on PC. They're shells. You pick a shell to place onto your lot, and then you can add walls and stuff inside of it.
Excuse me, what?
Also, there's a lot of lag as you attempt to place the shell down. You can see it in the recording. Yeah, it's that bad. Yeesh. Once you place a shell, you can go inside of it to design your house layout by placing walls, wallpaper, flooring, doors, etc. But you cannot really build a house outside of this. Hell, there's no pools either. You want to swim in a pool? Go to the beach. There's one nearby it. Yep, that's it.
I couldn't make this shit up. I couldn't make this shit up if I tried. I'm sad that I lack the talent to make this shit up.
When it comes to buy mode, things are not much better, as we struggle to place objects as they randomly rotate against your will when placing things, leading to objects not facing the right way. Also, I noticed, much like The Sims 2 Pets on Wii, once an object is placed, it's nigh impossible to pick it back up.
Scud. That's good shit right there. I'm gonna need every last drop of this.
There's a general lack of objects too in this game. Not even stuff to unlock. You want a computer? You got 2 options, and that's it. You want skill objects? You got a workout bench, a chess table, easel, and bookshelf. That's it. There's just a general lack of build and buy mode objects, especially things with gameplay attached to them. Which is weird, given The Sims 2 on PSP has more stuff to it. Even the DS version has more stuff. Not to mention The Sims 2 on console has more gameplay objects to play with. Hell, even The Sims 1 on console has more gameplay objects to play with. What the hell, Sims 3 on Wii?
Fuck you! I ain't having that shit!
As for live gameplay, you just directly control a single sim at a time, akin to the Sims 2 games on consoles and GBA games. Your goal is to make your Sims happy and make it to 500,000 lifetime points before 50 days go by, or else game over, I guess. I don't know, and I don't care. I just want a life simulation sandbox, and this game attempts to give us that, but with tons of things holding it back.
Ah, boy, here we go.
But first off, when it comes to the controls, they're pretty clunky and take some time getting used to. You directly control your sim, yes, but in turn, you still use the Wiimote to move a cursor around to select things. So you got a pie menu akin to the PC game instead of the UI of the Sims 2 games for console, for example. Tending to needs is pretty basic and usually doesn't take much time to deal with them, but they do drain pretty rapidly depending on what you're doing, mostly work related. Walking around the open world is fun as we can freely explore it. However, there are freezing and stuttering that will occur as you play. Plus, a loading icon appears in the lower right hand corner at times to load in data, especially when the carpool for work shows up to your house, I noticed. I enjoyed exploring the near seamless open world of Vista Beach. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a sucker for open world games. I love exploration, part of why I've sunken in almost 5,000 hours into Skyrim Legacy Edition on PC since 2012.
Take the money, get some help.
Anyways, it's fun to see other people's homes and just check out the overall town. You got plenty of rabbit holes to visit for work and other activities, plus a beach you can visit at any time. There you can fish, swim, and even kite surf. The first thing I did was switch between everyone and make sure they all got a job. I went with Cook, Muda became a scientist, Charlie got into extreme sports, and Zach became a career criminal. Yeah, just imagine waking up in the middle of the night to see Gollum's stunt double sneaking around your house trying to steal a TV. I'd be afraid too.
Suck a fucking dick. Shut the fuck up.
A neat thing exclusive to the Wii version of The Sims 3 is how when you go to work, you directly control the actions of your sim. While not exactly The Sims 3 Ambitions or The Sims 4 Get to Work, it's still more in depth than the base game rabbit hole careers in The Sims 3 on PC. You have several actions you can take, each one with a pro and a con. Whether you want to work hard and impress your boss, attempting to earn a bonus on top of closing in on a promotion, but in turn making your coworkers hate you for actively doing your job. Or, if you'd prefer to screw around with your coworkers to build your relationship with them, but in turn lose out on performance and your boss hating you. There's new actions that can be selected from too once you unlock them, with the relationship progress bar showing locks on the right side of the screen. Those are new actions and bonuses. You can also just tend to your needs or increase your skills at work too if you so choose, like a cook working on their cooking skill, or extreme sports on their athletics skill. But once you're in this, you gotta play till the end, so whichever sim you're controlling, this is all you're going to do and see till their shift is over. But honestly, I like this idea. It's just neat seeing all the progress in real time. I feel like I'm actually accomplishing something, unlike on PC, where I send my sim to work, they disappear and then they pop back into the world after a shift, and just hope for the best. Here, there's new actions, unlike PC, and more details on screen to showcase your progress. Overall, I like it, if you can't tell.
No shit, Sherlock!
Since you need to be in a good mood at work, this means making your Sims happy. So when it comes to tending to their needs and wishes, it's pretty easy doing so manually. But expecting this game's AI to do anything right isn't going to end well.
Uh-oh.
In fact, unlike on PC, your Sims on Wii will usually just pee themselves and go to work stinky, or not go to work at all, but instead head out to the skate park like Charlie likes to do. Damn it, Charlie, go to work. You're not helping us pay rent. If you don't go to work, you're out of the house.
Do I look like a happy camper to you?
I know you told your friend you're not okay.
Didn't think so.
So yeah, you'll be micromanaging every sim in your household. Otherwise, don't expect to keep a job or be able to pay any bills, let alone have your kids taken away because their programmed is very terrible at tending to their needs. This is one aspect of the game I cannot let slide, but hey, at least we have 2 whole whopping brand new unique gameplay objects exclusive to The Sims 3 on Wii. Yay!
What? Tell us.
There's 2 unique gameplay objects to The Sims 3 on Wii. The first being kite surfing, where you can buy a board and then place it into the world to be used in the ocean. Once you're on it, you can just move around and, well, yeah, it looks like ass because it is. There's no feel to it, you know? It's just gliding like you're no-clipping around in Gary's mod. There's no physics to the water, no resistance. It feels so off and stupid to use. Honestly, vastly disappointed in this. It feels like something you'd see in The Sims 4 and not The Sims 3. Yeah, it's on par with the inferior sequel in terms of quality. Moving on. The second and last gameplay that's exclusive to Nintendo Wii's version of The Sims 3 is you can go skateboarding.
Yay! No, Chris, not yay.
Sadly, it's just a reskin of the snowboarding from Seasons. It's just the ramp where you just repeat the same canned animation. You can't do any tricks. There's no grinding on rails. There's no going up or down the curved concrete walls covered in graffiti. You just have a single skateboard ramp that you cannot buy at home. You have to go across town to use a single ramp and hope no one else is using it first. Yeah, lame.
And, yeah, that's really about it. So, yeah.
When it comes to socializing, it's pretty easy. Just like on PC, you got the pie menu, unlike The Sims 2 on console, where it's just a traditional menu scrolling through everything. And this works very well on Wii, just like on DS and 3DS, given the Wii motion-based cursor you're forced to use at all times in the game. So selecting things is pretty easy. I only ever had a few conversations with other Sims during my time playing, as I was more focused on tending to needs, going to work, paying the bills, and giving us better furniture to make our lives easier to care for, friendship and love and all that crap. But yes, everything is here with moods, the conversation's theme, what Sims think of you, etc, etc, etc. It's overall okay. One more thing to cover before we move on to the other section is you can go shopping just like on PC. So if you want certain food items or gardening stuff, you can go to the grocery store to stock up on fish, fruit, vegetables, etc. You can go buy new books at the bookstore, amongst other things. Go to the restaurant even. So there's things to do outside of the home lot or even just going to work. But overall, the gameplay is still pretty lackluster compared to the PC-based game, so I didn't have much to do after a few hours of playing this game.
It is I, a picky bitch.
On to the other section where we discuss things like load times, performance, the music, and more, starting off with the overall technical stuff, to which sadly The Sims 3 on Nintendo Wii suffers from a lot of. But then again, that's what happens when you literally emulate the PC version on the worst console of the 7th generation.
Stand straight!
The game looks awful with tons of pixelated jagged lines of a shit ton of motion blur. There's rendering issues galore with objects popping in and out right in front of you. or looking straight out of the PlayStation 1.
Nice fucking model!
The non-stop freezing, stuttering, and random loading screens that pop up gets annoying after a while. Using the speed up feature will lead to non-stop issues galore. Sims are not that smart and will never really tend to their needs nor go to work that much, so you're constantly babysitting every single one in your household.
In conclusion, it just... Yeah, you said it.
Non-stop loading in between every action in Create a Sim doesn't help either. Every category, every piece of clothing you select, you gotta wait several seconds till it loads. This piles up, and in the end of Create a Sim, I was roughly 32 minutes into the game so far, playtime wise.
Jesus Christ!
I guess we gotta do this, right? Well, then here we go. When compared to the DS and 3DS, the Wii version has its fair share of problems, but is overall doing a much better job at emulating the PC version of the game. It's more true to the real Sims 3, with an actual open world unlike DS, which still has a loading screen in between home and the world itself. But I'll give the DS version some respect from trying to pull off such an ambitious feat on a terrible console that could barely get a decent looking Super Mario game on it, let alone an open world life simulation. Graphically and performance wise, it's better than 3DS and DS. Wii just offers the closest experience to PC that's not the PC. Alright, with that said, let's move on.
Jesus Christ! Finally!
And with that one done, we're now down to the last two known versions of The Sims 3. Those being the PS3 version and PC version. We'll tackle the PS3 one next and PC last. So far, out of all 5 versions, I'll go with the Wii. Despite several hiccups, it's the closest one so far to emulating what's on PC with some unique features. So with that in mind, let's get to the score.
It's about time!
At the end of the day, The Sims 3 for Nintendo Wii was a mediocre game bordering on average at times, but is held back by a shit ton of technical problems among other things. I still enjoyed playing this game, and was my favorite one so far. But honestly, this game should have been on PS3 and 360 instead, which would have made it look and run a million times better. I mean, those consoles had Far Cry and GTA, meanwhile the Wii did not. At least any good Far Cry games, that is. So yeah, I'd recommend this version of The Sims 3. Just know its shortcomings. As for when I'll get to the PS3 and PC versions, I'm not sure yet. But it'll be done before the end of June, hopefully, if I can get these technical problems fixed with my PS3 copy. Anyways, that's it for this video. See you all later. Hello everyone, today is a special day. I'm officially 31 years old. And I am in a not so good mood for a while now because of it. But you know what brings me joy in life? Video games. So today, let's go ahead and check out another childhood classic for a special occasion, as I've done for a while now. Like for my 30th birthday special, with my 300th review special, 400th review special, and 500th review special.
We get it.
So, for my 31st birthday special, I wanted to finally tackle a game that I hold near and dear to me. For on my 16th birthday, my mother got me The Sims 3, The Sims 3 World Adventures, and The Sims 3 High-End Loft Stuff. And I hated it!
Say what?
Yeah, at first I hated The Sims 3 for being so different from my experience with The Sims 2 on PC and console for years. I just didn't like change. I felt overwhelmed with the new systems, the open world, the UI. It was just too much and too different. So I disowned the game, gave it to some old friends at school, and never thought of it again. Till one day, probably a year or so later, it felt like...
Get on with it! Yes! Get on with it!
I remembered I had my Origin account. where I registered Spore Galactic Adventures and The Sims 3 with its 2 DLCs.
Ah boy, here we go.
So I installed The Sims 3 and started to enjoy it after giving it a second chance. Then I decided to look into the expansion packs and stuff packs for the game, found Lazy Game Reviews, and became an instant fan of his, with him helping me decide which DLC I should get next, and for what, roughly 13 years now it seems, I've been enjoying The Sims 3. And I wanted to look at the base game itself to see for sure if it's actually worth playing or not on its own. So will you join me in this journey? No! The Sims 3 was developed by The Sims Studio in the year 2009. Yes, this game is nearly 20 years old. It was then published by EA. Boo! For PC via Origin, the old EA DRM before the EA app. It's the third major game in the long-running life simulation series by taking the concept of the last 2 games, The Sims and The Sims 2, then taking things a step further with a more in-depth Create a Sim, plus the controversial addition of an open world. Yes, people hated the idea of the game not being full of non-stop loading screens. Who would have thought? Now they cry there's too many in The Sims 4. Look at what you get for whining about progress. You stupid. So right away, we'll dive into Create a Sim, where we have the usual options of first and last name, gender, skin tone, with a slider and several presets to get more degrees of representation, body mass, muscle mass, and definition. You can pick your hairstyle, color, eyebrows, facial hair, body hair, and even sculpt your Sim's face with sliders and or presets. Allowing for more detailed Sims, though they will all suffer from a common complaint: the pudding face syndrome. Yeah, the Sims 3 Sims will never be one-to-one to anyone you're attempting to make, but still a step up from The Sims 2, where they would either look nothing like what you're attempting to make at all, or they look like inbred rednecks from the Wrong Turn movies. There's not much in the way of clothing this time in comparison to The Sims 2, but to make up for that, we now have Create a Style for hair, clothing, and even tattoos. Yes, we can pick the colors we want or even the pattern of our outfits. You like that shirt but want it in white instead of gray or black? Hit that art icon to go into Create a Style and select the white color. It's neat having this tool that only ever appeared in The Sims 3. Oh, it technically was brought back in The Sims 4 for cats and dogs and horses, but that's about it. Sliders are used to sculpt every part of your Sim's face and even a bit of the body. Female Sims can even have their chest increased, so if you want them to have Lara Croft titties, you can give them Lara Croft titties.
What?
Change the angle, width, length, and size of your eyes, lips, nose, chin, cheekbones, your face placement if you want a larger forehead. It's great to have all these tools to just get more details done. You may have noticed I'm creating a selection of content creators alongside myself. If you're not new around here, you knew this was going to happen. Anytime I can create characters in a game, I try to make Charlie, Muda, and Zach. Plus myself and maybe a few others if I'm having enough fun to invest more time into a game. Like when I reviewed every WWE wrestling game for the PlayStation 2 a while back.
Okay. Back up.
I'm making myself, Charlie, Muda, Zach, Schlatt, and Queso. Together, we may just have enough money to feed Queso for a single meal.
Lord have mercy, look at this shade!
Unlike the DS, 3DS, and Wii versions of The Sims 3, the PC version comes with a ton of traits. So it wasn't hard to select what 5 works for each of these guys. I mean, we all know Charlie's a pretty cool guy that likes music and working out, plus hanging out with his friends and helping others who are less fortunate. And Schlatt is a goddamn textbook psychopath. Never forget 1999. Each trait will determine how your sim acts, who they can build friendships and relationships with, where they will like to go, what activities they'll participate in, such as athletic sims will go to the gym, while loner sims will prefer to stay home, outside of going to work. Outdoor sims will go to the park, or fishing spots, or even the beach.
No shit.
Art lovers will go to the theater and museum, you name it. This means certain lots will be a ghost town if you don't have enough sims that are interested in that location, which many people complained about. But I appreciate this detail. Unlike The Sims 4, where you get Bella Goth, Nancy Landgrab, and many others showing up at every single lot no matter what.
He ain't lying.
You can even select your favorite food, color, music genre, and then your zodiac sign, which has been downgraded to just being a birth sign for relationship compatibility and doesn't really affect your personality, akin to Sims 1 and 2. But that's fine, as I like being able to choose our traits to define our Sims, as it gives them more personality over previous games, where everyone was essentially the same.
True. Yep. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You also no longer have aspirations. Instead, you now select a single lifetime wish for your sim. Pick carefully because this is your only choice. Once it's complete, that's it too. You cannot select a new one unlike in The Sims 4. These range from getting to the top of a career, to maxing out skills, let alone even woohooing with 10 sims like you're competing with Annabelle Chong.
Who's that?
And after you're done making your sims, it's time to edit relationships and confirm your household. Now we can move into the world of Sunset Valley. There's only a few houses to move into. Most are not affordable for small households. Thankfully, with the 6 of us, we could actually get a pretty decent house. Now that we moved in, I guess we should discuss how this game works.
Well, duh.
If you've ever played The Sims before, you know what to expect. It's the same thing as you point and click, telling your Sims what to do, switching between them, managing their lives, seeing all their info like needs, inventory, skills, job, relationship, and more. The one thing you'll notice right away, however, is your camera is not restricted as before. You can freely move it anywhere, given this game is open world. The hotkeys for various menus and actions is great, the control layout is good, and everything feels good to play with.
Oh my.
Needs are very easy to deal with in comparison to The Sims 1 and 2, where needs decayed so fast you couldn't do anything else but tend to them, watching Sims pee themselves and pass out or drop dead from starvation. You couldn't ever experience any of the expansion packs or stuff packs basically because of this.
That's bad.
But thankfully, The Sims 3 needs decay at a slower rate, allowing you to experience what the game has to offer. There's still cheat codes too, but now you just enable testing cheats and click on the mailbox while holding shift to fill everyone's needs in the world instead of typing The Sims 2 Classic max motives.
It's good.
But still, needs are not that much of an issue, as even low quality objects will fill them quite easily and fast. I was able to enjoy my time playing The Sims 3 with not much hassle, especially with such a large household as mine. Though I do have to question, who the fuck is this guy Who does he think he is? Because this isn't Zach. Because Zach would never make and eat this shit.
You can be my plaything. I can be your toy. Just because I can't be your big boy.
Oh, do so.
No. Holy shit! Like this is so like it's crazy. Who the fuck is doing this? This shouldn't even be legal.
Socializing has seen an upgrade. Now the conversation mood will determine what social actions will be available on top of your overall relationship level. So now you gotta actually get her in the mood to fuck instead of just having high relationship points to select woohoo.
Sa, Maduna Muchime?
Melania.
This will take me a minute.
Your traits and zodiac sign will determine who you'll get along with and who's not going to like you. Much like real life, not everyone can get along, so someone who's evil like Schlatt is going to constantly get into fights with others. I mean, what did Queso do to you, Schlatt? Alright, maybe he ate your burger at the diner earlier.
Snag. Obu Bashu. Doxamon, Duba. Tabuni Chabagats. Foon. Oh. Yarkle. Verchuni. Oh.
There's more social options in The Sims 3 than The Sims 2. You can ask people about their careers, traits, relationship status, zodiac sign, and more. Sims themselves also have moods too. So if a Sim is not doing well, they may not want to talk to you. And if you try, it could cause you to lose a friend / partner. I enjoyed this expanded gameplay. And also just hanging out with the bros. We usually go fishing at the park, where Queso mooches off the picnic goers for free food. Cause of course he does.
Sneeved. Too charm.
Oh, good ditto.
And what's it all?
The Sims base games vary in terms of content. The Sims 4 was easily the worst offender, and still kind of is in terms of gameplay objects. The Sims 2 had the most for sure, but what about The Sims 3? What can you even do besides the usual gameplay loop of getting married, starting a family, dying of old age, and taking over as your kids? Well, you got your usual stuff like TVs, computers, and stereos. There's also a foosball table, easel, 2 workout equipments via the treadmill and weight bench. You can garden in the base game, unlike in The Sims 2 where it was part of The Sims 2 seasons. So you can make money with the seeds you find popping up around the world of Sunset Valley, which is the base game world, by the way.
Well, no.
You also have game consoles, a guitar to entertain yourself with. But that's about it. There's just not a whole lot to do for the most part. Sure, there's DLC and store items, but the base game itself just lacks variety. I'm still enjoying it. Just wish there was a bit more going on.
It is I, a picky bitch.
So, what about build and buy mode? Surely they've seen improvements over The Sims 2, right? Well, yeah, it has. But also, it's kind of hard to go back to after the many quality of life improvements The Sims 4 offers when it comes to build mode itself. After all, you can't add foundation after you place down walls. You also cannot alter the height of things either. You also cannot place doors and windows next to each other. The scale of buildings are less one-to-one in comparison to The Sims 4 houses. If you're trying to make your own home like me, it's not possible in the slightest still. Now in The Sims 4, yes, it's almost entirely possible. Even if you're not good at building in The Sims, you'll still have an easier time in The Sims 4 instead of The Sims 3.
We get it!
The Sims 3 did introduce a few things The Sims 4 would carry over, let alone see a return of eventually, like the basement tool, or dragging walls to expand or shrink rooms, even placing windows or decorations on the wall, and dragging them to different heights, changing the light intensity and colors. The Sims 3 build mode is basically serviceable at best, like The Sims 1 and 2. Buy mode is quite lacking in things to make homes with barely any doors or windows, beds, couches, tables, counters, appliances, lights, you name it. But at least there's something, even if it's just meh overall. Because of this, I do save money for more important things like going to skill classes in town, or to go out on dates and hanging out with other Sims, going to the diner or theater, you name it. Did anyone ever experience this in their game though? What's going on with this book? Is this a glitch? What's going on with this book? So yeah, The Sims 3 is open world. Want to go for a jog and see the neighborhood? Well, you can. Unlike in The Sims 1, 2, and 4, you're not restricted to your own lot. I can go for a jog, find seeds lying around for gardening, alongside rocks to turn into metals, butterflies and other insects to catch and put into jars, and gather fruit from trees. It's neat to have a seamless open world to interact with. As I play, the world around me goes by, much like real life. It doesn't revolve around you. I can go to the park with my bros to go fishing, and there'll be people there playing chess, reading books, having picnics, kids playing, grown-ass men playing on the swings and not letting kids have a turn. Of course Schlatt did that. And even people out and about around town going shopping, going to the theater, driving around in cars, getting a ride via taxi. Even people protesting outside of City Hall over clowns according to their signs. Of course, a major con to The Sims 3 over The Sims 1 and 2 is the introduction of rabbit holes. You can't actually go inside the spa, diner, restaurant, theater, bookstore, school, police station, science lab, city hall, military base, grocery store, you name it. Instead, it's a rabbit hole. You watch your sim go inside and wait till they're done. Yeah, it sucks, but I really don't mind it. Sure, it would be nice to have an actual grocery store again, like in the Sims 2 base game, but it is what it is. We can still interact with it and shop through a menu, so it's a step up from The Sims 1 and 4 at the least.
True.
This also means your jobs are a part of the rabbit hole system. Want a job? Either go into town to find one at the place you want to work at, read a newspaper, or use the computer. So you have choices. It's just easier to go into town to find exactly what you want though. I made Charlie a businessman, Muda became a scientist, Zach is a cop, Schlatt is a criminal, very fitting. Queso works at the diner, very fitting, and I work at the grocery store.
Lame, yes.
In comparison to the Nintendo Wii version, you don't have as much interaction while on the job. You can only select take it easy, work hard, business as usual, and a few others. There's no graph or bars showing progress in real time. There's no new interactions unlocked or earning a bonus by making friends with the boss but in turn angering your coworkers. You just send them in and wait till they're done at work. And see, you got a few hundred simoleons to waste on food.
Lame, yes.
With this open world came a new system, something previous Sims games lacked, even The Sims 4 up to one point.
What? Tell us.
Story progression.
Oh.
The Sims 3 has story progression. Now, you can disable this in the settings if you don't want it, but it's on by default. It makes everyone in the world go find jobs, grow up, find love, and start families. They'll even move. So you're not the only one living a life and moving forward on this linear journey that only ends with becoming worm food.
Man, that is dark.
So what can you do in the open world besides collect stuff and go for a jog? Well, you can go to the many rabbit holes and community lots like the beach, museum, library, spa, diner, park, city hall, theater, restaurant, lab, fishing spots, military base, bookstore, grocery store, and even for the first time in the series, visiting other Sims at their own homes. Because in The Sims 1 and 2, you had to invite the Sim over, or wait till they came over to your house, or meet them at community lots. Now, we can go to other people's homes and steal their goth wives, like any man of culture would. You can even go to the public pool for a swim, meet chicks in bikinis and oogle at them. Queso, Schlatt, and I went to one to mingle with the ladies, but sadly, Schlatt had other plans. Honestly, I should have expected this to happen. It's 1999 all over again, folks. I like to enjoy my free time at the cemetery, especially at night. Here I can woo the goth girls and the ghost women. As the night falls, the dead rise. This is neat because no other Sims game has this, not even The Sims 4 till last year with Life and Death for $40. You can now have a base game feature like cemeteries from The Sims 3. What a great deal!
Great deal.
So when I'm not trying to bone goth girls, I'm boning the paranormal girls.
So that's where we're at, guys.
One thing that's still possible, like in The Sims 2, is editing the world itself. Though not that many decorations and stuff are available this time around, you can still place empty lots for houses and community buildings. You can even rotate and realign them to ensure they're properly placed, something The Sims 4 would take and improve upon. I enjoyed adding more houses for more Sims as well as placing additional households within Sunset Valley. I even went ahead and made Maximilian dude. Sadly, he was never home and I couldn't find him in town anywhere, but he's there, somewhere, lurking in the darkness, probably trying to talk to someone about Final Fantasy VII Part 3, or looking for someone to play a terrible fighting game with. As you play and keep your sim in a good mood, they'll start building up lifetime points for rewards. On top of completing wishes and your lifetime wish to net more, these points can be redeemed for various bonuses, like traits to make needs decay slower, ensure you're more likely to get a promotion at work, to build skills faster, or even figure out other Sims traits easily to build relationships better, with DLC adding so much more later on, to which one day we'll get to.
I can hardly wait.
The Sims 3 gained infamy back in the day because it ran horribly on most computers, which makes sense. Those who played The Sims never had anything fancy. Most are on laptops or pre-made computers. Anyone remember those Dell Windows XP computers from grade school? I bet they still use those to this day. Wouldn't be surprised, me at all, given the average American school budget is wasted on sports instead.
Based.
But still, The Sims 3 runs quite well on modern hardware, with short loading screens, not to mention the rendering isn't as bad as it once was either. You just needed a decent PC to play this game back in the day, and that's easier today than ever before. Akin to Inzoi these days. I did notice some issues with stutters here and there though, and if there's a lot of lights on screen, it will have some slowdown. Plus, lights did flicker here and there. And yes, the pop-in is still a thing there, here and all that. But for a 2009 game, it's not a deal breaker. Hell, majority of AAA games today can't even have good rendering, and those cost $80+.
Preach it, honey.
Overall, I never had any game-breaking technical problems. The game was stable and allowed me to place objects and enter and exit build and buy mode whenever I wanted, and allowed me to save the game without issue, unlike The Sims 4 where you can't enter build mode after a while to place objects either, let alone you get infinite loading/saving screens, or game-breaking error messages saying your save is corrupted after only playing for 10 minutes. Yeah, The Sims 4 fucking sucks these days. It's a technical dumpster fire. Honestly, overall, technical-wise, if you had to play The Sims 3 or The Sims 2.
Alright, you win.
The Sims 2 easily has the best soundtrack of all Sims games. Even the console versions of the game had great stuff. In fact, I tend to use it in several videos, especially my Moist movies, which I need to make another one soon. How about where Schlatt commits an atrocity to top 1999 in 2001? No. Yeah, you're right, too spicy for YouTube. Anyways, The Sims 3 has some nice music too, even if it's not as iconic as The Sims 2 with its ba 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 song. And yeah, as of today, I'm 31. I'm getting old. My back hurts, and I can't understand pop culture anymore. My anger grows by the day as I feel less and less involved with the world around me, unable to find people who understand me. My hair doesn't grow as thick anymore, and I can't handle most foods either. Yep, welcome to your 30s, I guess. Oh well. Another year older, another year closer to death, and another year closer to never having to give anything to the IRS, right?
Based.
Well, whatever, I guess. Can't believe it's already been a year since I reviewed The Sims 2 for PS2 for my 30th birthday. And I can't believe it's been almost 2 years since I started making reviews and taking YouTube more serious. Even though it's failing quite hard, giving YouTube shadow bans my content.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Removing views, comments, and likes, plus hides all my comments I leave on anyone's videos so only I can see them, aka shadow ban. But whatever, I'm still going to keep pushing to make this a reality. This is what I want to do with my life, and I'll be damned if I don't go down without a fight.
I didn't hear no bell.
At the end of the day, The Sims 3 for PC is well worth playing. It's a great game that offers a good amount of stuff to do and play with. You can make Sims better than ever, create a style, story progression, the open world, the sandbox gameplay. It's just a great step up for the Sims franchise. Despite some issues like dated visuals, put-in-face Sims, stuttering here and there, and rendering issues or lighting glitches, it's still tons of fun, and I enjoyed myself. I had fun looking at The Sims 3 on its own, making my favorite content creators and goofing around. It's part of why I enjoy games. You could do anything you want basically, especially in a Sims game. While I'm 9 years away from being middle-aged, and while I feel like the world around me is getting bleaker and bleaker as my future grows more grim given my current situation that I don't feel like really going into detail about, but I did still enjoy going back and re-experiencing this game with you guys.
Gay!
While I still need to one day get to The Sims 3 on PS3, which had to be delayed due to technical complications, I will still eventually look at every DLC for The Sims 3 on PC. So stay tuned for when Queso and I form a rock band in late night, or when Schlatt becomes a werewolf and begins keeping our neighbors up all night with his non-stop howling at the full moon in Supernatural, or when Zach becomes a resort owner full of bikini-clad babes with big fat titties in Island Paradise.
Oh, that's a really good idea. I like that. That way you can like spend time and like keep the viewers engaged in another way. That's smart. Yeah, this is a really good idea.
Till then, however, anyways, that's it for this video. See y'all later.
Hope they do more of that for this, and yeah, that's really about it. See ya.
Parwo.
Look at this goober. What you looking at?